I'm so excited. Howdy Neighbors and welcome to Deluge Sermon of the Dead. This is a sequel to Threnody of Crashing Waves. It's a sequel. And it's currently out on early access. And I'm so excited. I'm going in. Hey, yo! Oh, fuck. Going that fast is not helpful. I wish I could read. The nights have been growing steadily warmer. The sickening fragrance of decomposing leaves lingered in the air as I make my way toward school. I'm desperately trying to recall a dream of the crown roast. Whoa! Why are we on auto? We're not going on auto, because I cannot read super fast. I was desperately trying to recall a dream of crown roast that I had been torn from violently no more than 20 minutes ago. I still feel grateful. Grateful that the mornings are growing lighter again, no longer forcing me to make this miserable journey through pitch darkness. And it was with these thoughts in mind that I became aware of a drifting presence circling around me, scanning its environment with the trepidation of a child. I turned around. Hello? Before me stood a young woman, no older than 25. From her sophisticated style and demeanor, I could immediately make out that she wasn't from around here. And then when she noticed me, she approached, slowly at first, and more confidently when she picked up on my friendly nature. Excuse me. Can you help me? I'm looking for a place called Fairview Apartments. Could you tell me where that is? I sure can right after I save. Sure. I could discern the panic in her eyes, and I empathized with her, as it wasn't long since I had been a newcomer into this town myself, just as lost as she was. Soon, however, I landed a job at the newspaper delivery business. First job I ever had. And it wasn't long before I had grown familiar with every street and borough of this deceptively outstretched town. Flashed a reassuring smile. Fairview, what's up far from here? Just head back up the road and turn left at Central Square. You can't miss it. That was a sigh of relief. I'm visiting someone who lives here. Visiting? Yeah. I'm visiting myself. The fuck? I stared in confusion. It's me, who's in Fairview Apartments. But I just moved in yesterday afternoon and I forgot the fastest way home. Flash me a silver house key. I really thought I wouldn't get lost this time. Same, dude. My voice turned melancholic. I feel like I'm unfamiliar with these surroundings, you know. I used to live here as a child, until I was about 6 years old. I've visited a few times since then. But things have changed. The town has expanded. She stood there for a second reminiscing. Her fluttering blonde hair shining in the early morning sun. Anyway, I need to go home now. I'm not really sure. She smiled. I'll see you around. Bye. And then she disappeared, just as cautiously as she had arrived. With increased speed, I continued toward school, fearing that the short delay would once more reinforce my persistent reputation of tardiness. Rika! Oh, fuck yeah. Sorry. Oh fuck, she's acting. My 3 girls are all back. By the time I reached the ever-cramped office of the Sunday Abbot, I was fully out of breath. Ina, our ever-punctual editor-in-chief, sat waiting for me. There you are, Abe. Your irresponsibility never ceases to amaze me. After pushing back your starting time to 9 a.m., you still manage to be late every single week. Whereas I wonder if there's even a point. I interrupted her. But oh my, she isn't here yet. But Ina had already begun opening the countless boxes that had been dumped haphazardly across the room. Well, at least you're not delaying the dispersal of important headlines. We appear to hit a dull news season. With municipal election campaigns waiting to start, it seems that there isn't really much to report on. She pouted. Isn't there any political gossip to write about? Nothing. They're keeping their lips sealed. But you just wait until the elections begin. The mud flinging will be out in full force. I'm sure what we're witnessing now is the silence before the storm. There'll be plenty of headlines before long. Ah! Flashbang. Part 1. Death and the Maiden. I forgot they flashbang you every time. The door swung open. The blonde girl made a hurried entrance. After work, let's do our best today. There, that's an attitude you can learn from, Abe. I forgot she had little freckles. She's so cute. But she was 20 minutes late. Ignoring my comment, I began leafing through this week's edition of the Sunday Abbot. Cool, Ina. Your piece on the arched marble moth made it to the front page. Who would have thought? This is my addition to the delivery team. We had worked out ways to distribute the paper as efficiently as possible, more than having my regular working hours in the process. And although it was pleasant to free up some time in the weekends, the change had instantly presented Ina with the opportunity to slash my already meager wages. I can't deny the reality that I was undergoing a personal financial crisis. Come on, Abe. We'll do the tenement buildings together. And after that we can split up and do the rest of the town. After loading our delivery cart with 3 boxes of papers, we made our way in the direction of town. The area beyond the school was sparsely developed, with only a few mansions rising up infrequently from behind the spiked gates, each surrounded by acres of woodland. As I put the cart, Mai looked over the subscription directory, stopping me at irregular intervals to deliver a paper or two at a house we passed by. Do you smell it, Abe? Nature is blossoming. Hardly feels like work. Oh, spring is in the air. This work smells like work, nowhere to hide it. The scent of fresh printing ink may seem nice at first, but at the end of the day, I always have difficulty washing it from my hands. And I've been smelling like I'm hot off the press, far into Sunday afternoon. Mai smirked. That's how it is, isn't it? But to be honest, I really don't mind the smell. The ink we use is an earthy scent, to pair well with the floral perfume. Mai, when did you become so metropolitan? She blushed. Shut up. Not much later, we arrived at a large residence. Out in the yard, I detect an eager face, clearly awaiting our arrival. Leopold! What the fuck? I forgot about this guy! Oh, I need to brush off. Jesus, he looks a little older. There you are, kids. Fashionably late as always. Let me read the garbage you're disseminating today. They're not unfriendly. No, they're not unfriendly. Councilman Leopold, the town's disgraced marquis, always held a close eye on our attempts at journalism. President Long, since he himself had been the subject of countless headlines, publicizing his dealings with the seedy underworld. Recently, Leopold appeared to have cleaned up his act. Here you go. Rumbling appreciatively, he browsed through the newspaper. Nothing written about you today. Leopold smiled. No, it seems like Ina has retained her decorum. I don't mind your paper reporting the news, you see. But it's when the line between the public and private sphere blurs that I have my reservations about her journalism. It isn't easy being a public figure. It becomes so much harder to indulge when everyone's watching you. Slip up once, make one tiny mistake. It is magnified 1,000-fold. I nodded compassionately. It's a lonesome endeavor. Do you know what my party has done to me for the upcoming elections? No. They lowered me to 11th place on the list. Just out of spite over things that happened in the past. 11th place, what does that mean? It means the end of my political career. That is, my party. Wow! Party! Fuck! Oh, welcome to Deluge. Fuck me up the ass. Okay. My party, AIR, only holds 8 seats in the town council. So I have 0 chance of returning to my position next year. Maybe if you campaign really hard. Thanks, Mai. Forget about it. It's political homicide. He scowled. Just think of all of the free time you'll have. I'll need it. To make matters worse, my deadbeat son is returning home this year after dropping out of university, majoring in German romantic theater. There's something equally useless, but that turned out too demanding for him. What is German romantic theater? And where the fuck can I watch it? I'm so interested. I'm so invested. I want to know more. And now we can't find a job for the life of him. Can't you kids put him to work delivering papers? I think our team is pretty much complete. He chuckled. Well, I can't blame you for keeping your distance. He's a real slacker. Hasn't worked a day in his life. School is work, bitch. Come on. And still, he's the type to consider himself too good for this kind of work. Mai jumped up. No one's too good to deliver the Sunday Abbot. Hell yeah, Mai. Let him know what's for. Never mind. Bernard is his name. You might catch him loitering around town. You have to have him off my hands soon. Ah, this scene. We wave goodbye to the grumbling marquis and make our way to the edge of town, where the working class district lay that was irregularly littered with council houses. It's the baby. We're welcomed by a loud bark. Good morning, Fyrus. You're up early. Fyrus here has been helping me on Saturdays. by pulling the cart to protect me against danger. She reached out to give the dog a pat on the head. In an instant, the dog lunged at her to sink its teeth deep into her arm. Absolutely not. Fire, said Hurt. Luckily, the dog retreated. Please be more careful, Fires. We don't have time to play. Our work proceeded quickly, and I was able to lunchtime by the time we rounded the last tunnel block. Fires followed us at a safe distance. We're doing great, Abe. Fires and I'll take the cart to finish off the remaining suburbs. We should have enough papers left to cover the city center. Are sure you'll be safe? Don't worry, Abe. I have Fires by my side. Yeah, we saw how well that worked last time. That's what I was worried about. I thanked Mai, and we each went our way. God, these old sceneries are bringing me back. Abbotsford's town center isn't large, and as I made my way from letterbox to letterbox, I thought to myself that Mai has surely drawn the shortest straw by agreeing to cover the suburbs. Mai, however, appeared to derive a lot more satisfaction from the work than I did, so it seemed fair that she would take on the lion's share of the workload. Suddenly, I picked up a distinct laughter. Look, it's Abe, always the bearer of glad tidings. I love you. I glanced in the direction of the sound and made out 2 girls, both of whom attended my school. This is Naomi. You may know her. She's on the swim team. Naomi acknowledged me with a curt nod of her head. So what are you girls doing here? Church isn't until tomorrow, right? Of course it isn't, but we're helping with the preparation for the Sunday service. We're to do some routine maintenance on the church properties. Can't the church afford to hire specialists for that kind of work? It's just recurring tasks. Old buildings require a lot of upkeep. But please follow me. I'm going to look at something. Oh, girl, I will. Please let it be the Leviathan again. Yes. Look. Oh my. I'm in love once again. As I followed the girls through the main entrance into the nave of the church, I could hear soothing tones seeping through the walls. That's the boys' choir. They're practicing in the auditorium. I hope you don't mind the sound. She beckoned me onward. I don't mind. Oh no. Oh no. We headed down a short staircase and through a narrow corridor that led into a crypt that was situated directly underneath the church. Oh God, I can't read. In the faint lights, I could make out the walls. They were covered with engravings that appeared worn and faded, as though they had once been exposed to the elements. Rika pointed upward. There should be a light bulb above the door. It isn't working anymore. Are you tall enough to look behind there? I pushed myself to see the casing of the door, but I could barely discern a small light socket. I could probably reach it, but it's pretty high up. Can't you just use a stepladder? Naomi giggled. Maybe we could, but just think of all the spiders that live up there. Please help us, Abe. Now that you're here anyway. I reached over the door with my hands until I felt the smooth surface of an incandescent bulb. Careful, and unscrewed it. Oh, what? Forgot it does this sometimes. Carefully, I unscrewed it, setting a fine stream of age-old dust pouring downward over my clothes. The bulb came loose. I stepped down and held it to Rika's ear, shaking it, so that the rattling sound became clearly audible. Burnt-out bulb, just as I thought. But don't worry. She dug around her uniform pocket for a new one. This one uses advanced light emanating diode technology. She left much longer and saved the church on electricity. Smirking, I took the bowl from her and carefully screwed it into its socket. Oh cool, now I can not be able to read, but it's brighter. When I was nearly done, it began emanating a blinding light. I dared myself to retain my balance, as the entire crypt that had been steeped in darkness just a minute ago had suddenly illuminated. There, that wasn't too much trouble, was it? As my eyes grew accustomed to the light, I became aware of my surroundings. We were sitting inside a windowless catacomb. Large stone slabs covered the walls around us, each one of them inscribed with time-worn glyphs. Some places are better kept in darkness. Oh, not at all. Do you see these stones? Do you know where they came from? They look like gravestones to me. I smiled. That would be correct. Girl, what the fuck? You should take a look at the dates on these stones. And no, I'm good. Thank you. I'll date back to the early 1400s, when this town was still situated on an island. Did you know that there used to be a different church on Abbot? It served the congregation up until 1653. Its ruins can still be visited, close to the southern point. The old church had an adjacent graveyard, and I'm afraid the encroaching sea made for watery graves. So the salt water aided the foundation of the church, running away the wood and making the stone walls tilt over threateningly. When a large winter storm swept away the cemetery gates, one dark December night, the community decided it was time to build a new and more splendid church on higher land. That's the building we're now standing in. Construction began immediately, although work was halted many times in pursuit of new funding. All building supplies had to be transported from the mainland, and when funds ran out, many stones were taken from the old church to continue production. After 40 years of construction, the new church was completed, and our place of worship was moved to this new location. The dead, however, stayed behind in their old cemetery. The remains of our forefathers languished beneath the skeleton of a decrepit chapel, constantly threatened by the washing sea. And the revered Cooper, my great forefather, decided that something was to be done. Now that work on the new church was finished, the villagers commenced with the process of moving the dead to the new location. They began with graves that were in immediate danger of being swallowed by the sea. But, as you can imagine, it was unpleasant work. No one found joy in digging up old bones. The graveyard relocation project grew into an effort that spanned multiple centuries, often laying still for decades. It wasn't until the beginning of the 20th century that the last of the graves was moved to dry land. Rika glared at us ominously, with a silver sheen glistening through her ink-black hair. But even then, they say at least a few graves must have been overlooked, their contents swept into the endless depths of the ocean. Oh, Abe, I apologize. We've been keeping you from your work, and I think it's almost lunchtime. Why'd you have lunch with us? Naomi has packed sandwiches. Come on, Naomi. After our hard work, I'd say we deserve a break. We'll finish decorating in the afternoon. We climbed back up the stairs and settled among the pews. We made this at home. Please let us share them together. I didn't have any other plans for lunch. I shook my head. Usually, I don't even get around to eating on days like these. Naomi handed me a sandwich. So have you been doing, Abe? Are you fully prepared for finals? I grumbled a reply. Oh, and I haven't received your submission form for Easter break yet. Could you hurry and fill one out? Running short on applicants. Looked up for my sandwich. Easter break. Haven't you seen the notices at school? It's our yearly outing, where we stay at the beach for a few days, as the last escapade before final start. We'll hold nightly study sessions, but mainly it will be a carefree vacation. Naomi and I are the ones that are on the organizing committee together. Rika took out a small form from her purse. Please fill this out as soon as possible. We don't want to miss Easter break. And let me know if you think of anyone else who would be interested in attending. As registration is low this year, anyone is welcome, not just graduate students. Will you join us for Easter break? Absolutely. My darling, I would love to. I knew you would. Please fill this out and hand it to me at the earliest possible occasion. I accepted the form, slipping it into my pocket thoughtlessly. Oh, lots of thought are being put into this form. I hope you own a pair of swimming trunks. You know, in real life, I don't even think I have a swimsuit. Whoops. Emphasizing that I really need to return to work, I thanked the girls and said goodbye. With a well-filled stomach, I moved onward through the Saturday streets, which had come alive with the bustle of pedestrians enjoying their weekend. But I couldn't deny that my conversation with Rika and Naomi had stirred a certain anxiety in me. The truth is that finals were rapidly approaching, and my ever-increasing obligations toward the school paper, as well as my leisurely approach to life, had not left much time for study. I resolved half-heartedly to start studying that very evening. In the meantime, my work was coming along nicely. In less than an hour, I managed to complete the houses around the central square in the shopping district, where very few subscribers lived. When suddenly, I was struck by a strange sensation of déjà vu. Good afternoon. Out and about again. I am. Thank you for your clear directions this morning. I found my way home in a heartbeat. You're so knowledgeable about the layout of the town. Comes with the job description. I presented her with an issue of the Sunday Abbot. Here, take one. You also have plenty left at the end of the day. A newspaper. Curiously, she looked it over. It's wonderful for a town like this. Are you on the board of editors? Not officially, although I stand in at times. She smiled. Well, it must be exciting, with the elections coming up. Thank you so much for this. I'll make sure to get a subscription. Please don't feel obligated to. No, I definitely will, as soon as I get home. Which is in that general direction, isn't it? We just stood northward, at the edge of town. I sighed. Follow me. I'll pass by your place in a little bit. There's a few more stops along the way. Oh, thank you, Abe. Got lost again. Shouldn't have taken a right turn at the mini-mart. I followed my course, with Marissa trailing behind me, till we approached Fairview Apartments. Outside the main entrance, she turned to me, standing so close that I could feel her breath. You saved me again. I'd be lost without you. Please come upstairs, I'll make you some tea. As I have no other way to thank you. We made our way up the Spartan staircase and through a narrow corridor before entering her flat. Ooh, yum yum. I apologize again for causing you so much trouble. Normally, I'm very independent. You should realize that. It's just this is my first time truly living on my own. She wrung her hands nervously. I mean, when I went to college, I lived with my roommates in a shared apartment. We were independent, but we divided the chores. I mainly did the laundry. The other girls would cook and clean. And now I'm living by myself, feels like I have to do everything alone. I've been getting lost around town, even though this place is far smaller than the city, but also in my head. I think it's just because I have so much on my mind. Just a minute, the tea should be ready. She bounded into the kitchen. I could hear her rattling the teacups. I waited in the empty studio apartment, which, although neatly furnished, still had a certain impersonal feel to it, as though it hadn't been fully made into a home. I made Earl Grey. Hope you like it, as that's all I've got. She let out a melancholy sigh. Student life is nothing like the real world, you know. At college, you're sheltered, cared for. You have a path set out for you. But now that's all over. The grand open future beckons me. So why'd you come to Abbotsford? Oh, I like this town. I used to live here, back when I was very small. Didn't I tell you? You're not just freeloading. I have a job, a real job. Although I won't be starting it just yet. She grew silent. I love how expressive her eyes are. It's great. What kind of job? I can't tell you. Not until next week. Because it's a secret. And I know what you journalists are like. She shivered, giddily. But I have a job. I can't even fathom it. I'm on the fast lane to success. Soon it won't be lukewarm tea, but champagne filling these cups. She broke out in animated laughter, as I felt a strange tingle make its way down the back of my neck. Marissa got up. She walked over to the corner of the room to pick up her shopping bag, which she had discarded thoughtlessly upon entry, and brought out a packet of cinnamon buns. Fuck. Yeah. For those that like cinnamon buns, this is for you. Here, have something to eat. It's past lunchtime. I was about to decline, but she had already handed me a roll, and I saw no polite way to refuse it. I realize you must be on your way, but you won't be able to deliver papers on an empty stomach. After no less than 3 cinnamon buns, I exited Fairview Apartments. They have progressed, and I was borne down, physically as well as mentally, by the weight of the newspapers that remained in my bag. The kind of people sitting in their gardens, basking tepidly in the early spring sun. I vowed solemnly not to be held up until I have delivered the remainder of my route. It was much later that I came across a slouched-over figure, slowly making its way in my direction. Hey, May. Hidden along. From under her worn appearance, she flashed me a vulnerable smile. I'm okay, Abe. I worked really hard. I only have West End left. Virus left more than an hour ago. I think he decided he'd rather spend the afternoon laying in the sun. Just a glance at my messenger bag. But wow, you look like you're almost done. Must have had a tough afternoon. I chuckled awkwardly. I'm really tired. To be honest, I'm starved. But we stopped for a late lunch together. Billy protested in all of his overindulgence. While I had been spending the afternoon eating and socializing, mine must have been working uninterruptedly. I could hardly reject her offer on the account that I had already eaten 2 full lunches. You know what? I'd love to, it's just... She's staring at me hopefully. I've been feeling a little nauseous lately. I'm gonna finish more quickly before going to bed. But please eat something for my sake. You're ill. A weird expression had come over her. Nauseous, could be a fever. Better hurry home quickly, let me deliver the rest of your papers. I could feel the blood rushing to my head. No, I'm fine. Hard work will set me free. With over in shame, I hurried toward the last mailboxes of the day. In the months leading up to finals, school days were short and filled with repetition. Spring has come early this year. Look outside. The tilia are budding. But it won't last long, you know? If we have a cold spell in April, the new foliage will freeze to death. Nature punishes presumptuousness harshly. She turned away from the window. But anyway, hope you did a good job last Saturday. I need you to keep up that attitude over the coming weeks, as the electoral campaigns are starting next Wednesday. Although we're just a weekly paper, we're the only dedicated news source this town has. Which means whenever something big happens down here, our reporting will be the focus point of all national media. If something big happens. These elections are a chance for the Sunday Abbot to break into the national headlines. It's really not. So I'll need you at your sharpest. She'll let out a giggle. And you should hear this. Currently, the parties are in the process of announcing their leading candidates. Flock 05, the town's second party, just published a press release this morning. Their party has been in trouble lately, as a previous frontrunner was arrested for domestic abuse charges. Fuck. Goddamn. He hasn't been convicted yet, but it's a poor look for them. Ahead of the coming elections, Flock was searching frantically for a new leader. Just take a look at who they've chosen. Presented me with the press release from her phone. I immediately recognized the accompanying photograph. I coughed. The person with no expression at all. Apparently she just graduated from law school. Dabbled a little in student politics. She did some modeling work. Ina snickered. Sorry. I couldn't think of a more complicated candidate. Oh, more incompetent candidate, whoops. But at least, let's not be quick to write her off. I'm sure that's her. She looks an awful lot like a person that I crossed paths with last Saturday. Crossed paths with? I think so, but she didn't strike me as the type to lead a political movement, if you know what I mean. What was her name again? Marissa Roosevelt. Her name was in the press release. And you saying you ran into her. Maybe she was in town for deliberations. You'll probably move here sometime soon. You need to be a legal resident of Abbotsford to run for office. I smiled. She has an apartment already. I'm not sure if she's fully aware of it herself. You don't ignore my remark. With the sound of her right index finger rapidly tapping against her skirt, I could tell that she was coming up with a scheme. She turned to me with a serious expression in her eyes. Please, no. No. I think this could be a good thing, Abe. This year, I want to take a deep dive into the individual campaigns. Flock 05 as a movement has been on the rise for a good number of years. The politics are popular under a large section of disenfranchised voters. The big words are back. Some voices speculate that they could even form a sincere challenge to the political establishment of our town. I want to kick off the campaign season with an extra thick edition of the Sunday Abbot, providing an overview of all contesting parties. Extra thick? My shoulders still felt cramped from last Saturday. I want in-depth interviews with the leading candidates of every party. I can interview the town mayor and the smallest opposition leaders. I'd like you to interview Marissa. I swallowed. An interview? Me? Yeah, you. Sounds like you have one foot in the door with her already. You can't let an opportunity like this go to waste. So, will you conduct the interview for me? No. Don't even have a choice. No. Oh, Abe, I love it when you defy me. We'll have the interview with Marissa on my desk by Friday. Otherwise, you can say goodbye to your Saturday job. Yeah, I was tempted to call her bluff. I realized I was functionally redundant, and now that May had joined the delivery team. Vaguely, I'm a quiz. What? Quizzy? I was a word. It's a large responsibility. Please don't disappoint me. Ina took her place at her desk, ordering papers and humming to herself in a contented manner. It appeared that my presence was no longer needed. I was already on my way to the door. My mind set on returning home before Ina could lay any more unsolicited work on my shoulders. When a question sprang to mind, I turned around. Hey Ina, I was wondering, have you ever been on Easter break? Ina looked up from paperwork, a gloomy expression forming in her eyes. Easter break? Why? Are you going? I'm not sure, are you? Easter break, me. It's where the stuck-up type loafs around on the beach under the pretense of study. I have absolutely, definitely no interest in being a part of that. Too bad I'm going. Spring break. Hi, Rika. Before I could even make it to the end of the corridor, I was cornered by Rika, Cooper. Abe, I'm so glad to run into you. You're just the person I was looking for. That can't be true. Oh, but it is. For I have something newsworthy to report. And for that reason, I need a journalist. She stared up at me with pleading eyes, and I could detect a certain playfulness in her voice. Sometimes, involving the press is the only way to achieve true righteousness in the world. They don't call you guys the Fourth Estate for nothing, do they? I don't really think I'm the right person for this. Ina's in her office. All leads can be submitted to her. Her face fell. Come on, Abe. You know how Ina feels about me. Please come with me for a bit. I want to show you something. Every time she says that, I get so ready for the Leviathan to come back. Will you spare your time for you, my lady? Yes. You have no idea how thankful I am. For this is truly a matter of the greatest importance. Begrudgingly, I followed her. Oh, I am not begrudged. Rika walked next to me at a confident pace, forcing me to increase my tempo to keep up with her. As we walked, she seemed thrilled with herself, grinning with a mysterious sense of anticipation. Though I'm not easily thrown off my game, her lingering silence made me the slightest bit uncomfortable. So how did your service go yesterday? She moaned favorably. No more lights that burned out? Preparation is key. No ritual can go without rehearsal. Ritual is rehearsal, or so they say. Shot me an inquisitive glance. We're walking down the Lightskeeper Lane, a picturesque trail that led to the woodlands on the southeast. Great plum trees rose up on both sides of the path, arching together in the canopy of green. Rika. Yes? That thing you want to show me. Pause for a second to catch your breath. It isn't really on the way home, is it? She put her finger to her mouth. Oh, quiet now, this is a shortcut. Anyway, we're almost there. Honestly, the trees grow thicker. Thick. Turning into a forest. Hell yeah! Yeah! And after a while, the path gave way to a clearance, in the midst of which there lay a ruin. Vanity of vanity, all is vanity. There it lies, what remains of our old church. As you can see, many stones have been taken away and repurposed, and these ruins wither under the force of the elements, stones crumbling. Currently, we're sitting at the place where the graveyard used to be, before the graveyard relocation project took place. In the past, the sea came up just a few yards from where we're standing, but after the reclamation of the surrounding land, the water slowly disappeared. In the fickle daylight, I gazed upon the desolated church as it casts lingering shadows over the mossy forest floor. Proper burial is of such pivotal importance to our faith. For those who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake one day, some to everlasting life. We believe, upon the second coming of our Lord and Savior, the burial forms a prerequisite for entrance into the kingdom of heaven. But let me get to the point. Over the course of the centuries, 326 headstones were transported to the new church's crypt, and 326 caskets were buried underneath. The thing is, not all of the caskets hold our dead. Or saying some of the graves were empty. Empty, yes, or even worse. Some held the remains of those unhallowed. It happens at the beginning of the previous century. In 1934, the islanders were close to exhuming the last of the graves. Only 40 headstones remained, and a large... concerted effort was undertaken to complete the remaining work and close the old graveyard for good. It was during these days that an esteemed scientist visited our island. Oh my, hello. Dr. Bram Bulwer, chairholder of the Department of Forensic Anthropology at Leiden University. Bram's intentions were rather sinister. He seemed interested in creating an anatomical archetype of the inhabitants of the Isle of Abbot. Among the nation's elites, many prejudices existed against our people. Considering how isolated our community was, we were an interesting case study, genetically speaking. But back then, the islanders were clueless of the doctor's true intentions. And like we've always done with guests, we welcomed him in our midst and provided him with hospitality. Bulwer did a lot of important work in our community, providing medical checkups to the elderly and administering polio shots to school children. My grandmother still remembers how he came to their school, lined up their children by length, and taking all their measurements, their arms, their legs, their skulls. Bulwer wasn't questioned at the time, but people still held medical experts in high regard. After he began involving himself in the graveyard relocation project. Immediately upon his arrival, he offered to help the exhumation of the graves. During the first few days, he spent his every spare hour helping the digging crew. But after some time, this led to uneasiness. On multiple occasions, the doctor was accused of treating the inhumed remains without proper regard. Taking skulls out of their graves, inspecting them, measuring them, treating them without the due reverence that should be observed during the handling of a deceased person. Led to arguments, and the doctor agreed to cease his participation in the relocation project. But But even after the incident, Bulwer was spotted near the old graveyard a few times, preserving the workers and the empty graves. After 4 weeks, Bulwer departed for the mainland, never to return, and the islanders all but forgot about his mystifying presence. Mika's face grew dark. Until Dr. Bulwer died 20 years ago. After his death, his personal archive was made public, a routine move by the university. His writings shone a new light on his stay on the island. A notebook from 1937 makes mention of 3 Abbot skulls that were in possession of the doctor. It's the only time he mentions the term 3 Abbot skulls, just as an aside. And it can only be speculated what exactly took place. But I, and many on the island with me, suspect that Bulwer must have snuck out one dark night, exhumed 3 graves, replaced 3 of our skulls with other specimens from his undoubtedly vast collection, before carefully resealing the graves, thus leaving him in possession of the 3 exceedingly rare skulls from the eccentric population of Abbot. They're saying the doctor went through all that trouble to steal some old bones. He did. He stole the remains of our ancestors to display them in a cabinet as some kind of exotic curio. We must return these remains, these Abbot skulls, so that we can bury them in our native soil. These people, these poor souls, they have the right to a Christian burial. This is of fundamental religious importance to us. I looked at her incomprehensively. Oh, you may find my obsession morbid, but these bones tell the story of our people. Each of my ancestors had been buried on this island, far back into the Dark Ages. It's a humbling thought to have them all in one place. To know that I will one day lie among them, in the depths of the earth, protected by a sheltering church and a mighty God that rules from above. Rika's eyes shone in an exalted glare, and I realized she can continue preaching this for hours. Listen, Rika, I'm running late. Maybe we can continue this conversation at a later... It's okay, I'm done. I want to ask you. You see, after Bulwer's archives were published, we petitioned the university to return the skulls, but they only sent us a short reply, explaining that no record existed of skulls from Abbot, and that their mention in the notebook was likely an error. After that, all our further pleas went unanswered. We need someone with journalistic inlets to look further into this case. To do research, to find out everything there is to know about these relics, and to publicize the whole dark matter, so that the university will be forced to reveal the skeletons in his closet. She looked up at the setting sun. I apologize, Abe. It's growing late and I've led you astray. I'm beginning to realize this really wasn't much of a shortcut. It wasn't, was it? But I know a quicker way to get back to town, that leads to the fields. I promise we'll have you home by sundown. She took me down the bicycle path that led out of the woods. In a few minutes, we came upon a little used trail that ran through the tulip fields. We have picked the season. Pretty, aren't they? In a few days, these flowers will be harvested and flown in cold crates to places all across the globe. She pointed toward the purple spotted flower. Just imagine, this poor thing could be wilting in a vase in Beijing by the end of the week. I think that something of such beauty would await such a cruel fate. But eventually it's the path of all things radiant. It just shows that we truly live in a fallen creation that groans under the consequences of our sin. Vanity of vanity, all is vanity. She sighed. At least the farmers can harvest gold. A batch of tulips will fetch a small fortune at auction. And come May, the land is plowed and wheat is sown, and the cycle goes on as usual. Wednesday morning. I just remembered the interview I'd been asked to conduct with Marissa, the scatterbrained girl I had met last Saturday. With our deadline approaching rapidly, I pondered what my next move should be. Ina couldn't expect me, realistically, to produce a quality interview with such short notice. Where do I start? I don't have a phone number. I was certain that I had just shown up at her door out of the blue, sure she would reject me. I pondered the thought for a second. A rejection. That was what I needed. If I could simply tell Ina that Marissa had refused to grant me an interview, I'd be free from my obligations. After all, no means no. And then Ina would be able to interrogate her herself at a later date. Driven by these motivations, and without any prior preparation, I found myself knocking on the door of Marissa's apartment. An interview? Yes, for a paper. It should take more than a few hours of your time. I understand if you're busy. Busy? Not at all. It caught me a little off guard, but I'd love to give an interview. A sinking feeling took hold of me. First, I've heard about my appointment as the new leading candidate for Flock 05. I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you the last time we met. I was under strict orders to keep it a secret until the press release went out on Sunday night. And now you want to conduct an interview, a real interview with me. She was beaming. Oh, this is also exciting. I was becoming a little disappointed, you know. You're the first local press outlet to show interest in my new position. We're the only local press outlet. I want to tell you everything about a movement. But I'm actually in the middle of something. My phone is a mess. Please meet at the cafe across the street for 15 minutes. Conduct our interview there. Fuck. We're backing down now, boy. I sat in the empty cafe, tenderly sipping the triple ristretto. 1,000 thoughts passed through my mind. Part of me was ready to escape while it was still possible. Hastily scribbling a deceased note on a piece of paper before winging it out the door. Simultaneously, I found myself making up potential interview questions, as a fickle attempt to alleviate the very worst outcome. But I realized I probably wouldn't have the nerve to escape. That I would remain sitting here, caught like a deer in headlights, for another seconds until my inescapable demise. And there she was. As I watched her approaching through the window, I noticed something luminous in her appearance, which I hadn't detected back when I saw her in the hallway. It's a great place, isn't it? So close by. Easy to find a way home from. Don't tease me, I've been doing a lot better. Bought a map, you know. Anyway, I'm glad you're willing to talk to me. Though some national papers ran our press release, we're the first journalists to show interest in our actual story. But please, go easy on me today. You know I've only been instated recently. That's right. If there was an issue with your predecessor. Your predecessor, Jurgen. She blushed. Let's not talk about him right now. I believe the gutter press have uncovered all of his shady dealings. She lowered her voice. New political parties attract all kinds of types, you know? When you're building up a movement, it isn't always possible to separate the wheat from the chaff. But I think we've left these days behind. I want us to look toward the future, not the past. We've dealt with Jurgen in a responsible manner, and now we're ready to turn the pages. You can quote me on that verbatim. Are you taking notes? Yeah, Hastily, I produced a notebook from my bag. I turned to call some of the questions that I had prepared before Marissa's entry, none of which I had thought to write down. So, could you tell me something about your goals as leader? And with that, I'm gonna end it here. I'm so excited to be back! So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you later.